Okay. Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to continue our discussion. The discussion that we have started in our previous classes. In the last class, I have already discussed about the basics of C++ and the difference between structure programming and C and object-oriented programming. I have discussed about the basics of class and object in very details. Okay. And I also discussed about how we can implement class and object and how we can how we can access the functions with the help of creating object of classes. In the last lab, I have shown that thing to you. Okay. So today I'm going to discuss some more important features of C++, as well as I'm going to also discuss, also practice toward more problems regarding class and object. Okay. So so let me start with the differences between C and C++. Okay. Overall differences we have already learned. The difference between procedure-oriented language and object-oriented language, where C is called a procedure-oriented language and C++ is called an object-oriented language, programming language. So that is a basic difference that all of you know that. So I have also discussed about the difference between these two kind of language in terms of design approach. That means every procedure-oriented language follows a top-down design approach, whereas the object-oriented language follows a bottom-up design approach. That I have discussed. Okay. Multiple declaration of global variables are allowed in C programming. Multiple declaration of global variables are not allowed in C++. So you cannot declare multiple global variables in C++. It is not allowed, but in C it is allowed. C requires all the variables to be defined at the starting of a scope. C++ allows the declaration of variable anywhere in the scope at the time of first of use. Actually, this difference is not so important. I suggest everyone to don't use this difference. Okay, don't write this difference, because this difference has been given in terms of the using of turbo C. Okay, while you are using turbo C, the variable declaration should be done just after the int main function. Okay, so if you declare the variable at any other steps, suppose you are going to declare the variable before return 0, okay, a new variable, suppose you are going to declare, then the turbo C will give you the error. Okay, but nowadays all the C compiler are student friendly. They have introduced the student friendly versions, so they are very flexible. Okay, so just like C++, object-oriented programming, like just like C++ and Java, you can also declare a variable within the scope of the program at any place whichever you want. Okay, but in sometimes it will call a difference. Okay, C and C++. The last thing is that in C, all of you remember, while we have done a dynamic memory allocation, that means while we are going to create a memory dynamically, okay, whose size can be increased or decreased, the scalability of the memory will be increased. The size can be increased or decreased. That is a dynamic memory, and we are going to use these two major functions, malloc and calloc. Okay, memory allocation and calloc. Okay, these two system defined functions, and also while we are trying to free that allocated memory from the memory space, we will use this free function. Okay, for memory deallocating, right? So in C++, we don't need to use all these functions. In C++, to do the same job, we will use a new operator and a delete operator for use for memory allocating and deallocating. Okay, new operator is used for the memory allocation dynamically. Okay, because in object-oriented programming there is no concept of static memory allocation. In object-oriented programming, whether it may be C++, Java, or Python, all kind of memory allocation are dynamic in nature. Okay, but in C you can do two kind of memory allocation, either statically or dynamically, which we have already seen. But in C++, no concept of static memory allocation. Okay, there is always a concept of dynamic memory allocation, and we will use new keyword or new operator for dynamic memory allocation and delete keyword or delete operator for deallocation. With whatever memory will be allocated, if you want to free the memory or deallocate the memory, and send back to the pool of memory resources, then we will have to use a delete operator. How we are going to use it, that we are going to see while we are doing our program. Okay. Now, what are the usage of C++ language where we can use? C++ is usually used by programmers to develop computer software. It is used to create general system software. Use system software means what? Anyone tell me what do you mean by system software? You know it.
Operating system.
Yes, system software is such kind of software which are very much close to the hardware of your system, just like operating system. Example of system software is operating system, Unix, OS, any kind of OS, Mac OS, Unix, Windows, or a system software. Okay, so sometimes to create some system software, we need to take the help of C++ programming. Okay. So C++ is actually the third uses of C++ is used to build drivers for various computer devices. It used to build drivers for various computer devices. Okay. It used to build drivers for various computer devices. So I think all of you have an idea about the driver softwares. While you are installing a printer in your machine, you require a driver software. Suppose if it is a HP printer, then you require a driver software from HP, which actually run or which actually connect the printer with your device or with your laptop or with your system, okay, through the software, and that software is called driver software. Without the help of driver software, you cannot attach the printer. Your printer will not going to work. Okay, because printer is a hardware, your laptop is also hardware. So if we want to connect these two hardware, we need a driver software. And in sometimes C++ language or programming language, we are using for various kind of driver software preparation or building, right? Then software for servers and software for specific applications, we will take the help of C++ to do these two things. Then C++ used in the creation of video games. C++ is used in the creation of video games. Okay. So these are the various uses of C++. Now, what are the advantages of C++? C++ is relatively low level and is a system programming language. It has a large community. It has a relatively clear and mature standard. Okay, because it is one of the oldest software. First object-oriented programming software, you can say. Okay, first commercialized and most popular. Okay, it is not a first, but it is commercial and more popular. Then modularity. So modular programming approach, I have already discussed in detail during the C programming. What is a modular programming approach? The entire program is divided into number of modules with the help of functions or procedures. Okay, and that will help in various scenarios. So C++ also follows a modular programming approach. Not only C++, each and every object-oriented programming follows this modular programming concept, including C. C is procedure-oriented. C is the first procedure-oriented language which follows this modular programming approach. Okay, before C, no other language like ABCP, these are the languages before C. Those are not following any kind of modular programming approach. Okay, so C++ follows modularity or modular programming approach. Reusability and readability. So C++ is easily to understand in terms of reading, and readability is much more clear compared to C programming. Okay, C programming readability is little bit difficult compared to C++. But C++ readability, programming readability, instruction readability is easier compared to C. Now, reusability is actually is a concept where we are using the concept of inheritance. Okay, in future we are going to use the concept of inheritance, because I have told in the last class that each and every object-oriented programming language must follow a PI principle. If you remember, P for polymorphism, I for inheritance, E for encapsulation. Okay, so inheritance is such a concept by the help of which we are able to reuse the code again and again. what I have said, inheritance is such a concept by the help of which we are able to reuse the code again and again. So that's why the reusability concept is inbuilt in C++. The reusability concept is very new to C++. It was not there in C programming language. I'm telling again, the reusability concept was not there in C programming language. Okay, the reusability concept is introduced from C++ to all the other object-oriented programming language. Java follows reusability through inheritance. Python also follows reusability. So every other object-oriented programming language will follow reusability. Okay, but procedural-oriented programming like C doesn't follow reusability concept, and it is one of the powerful feature of any object-oriented programming language. Anyone has any doubt, any question, you can ask me. Up to this, it is clear to everyone? Any doubt,
Yes,
any
sir.
question? Okay, very good. Disadvantages, the globality and locality of data is one of the disadvantages of C++, how we can see it. It emphasizes on instruction, but not on data. Okay, it mainly emphasizes on instruction, but not on data. It can be generally heavy if not careful. Data is global, and global data does not have security. Okay, C++ is one of the problem is that the global data does not have security. C++ is a major programming language which provides the security more than Java. You can say C++ is a very secure language. Why? Because by default, the access specifier of C++ is private. In last class, I have told. By default, the access specifier of the subject of C++ is okay. So these things I have already discussed, advantages, disadvantage of C++. So by default, the keywords, the by default the access specifier of C++ is private. Okay, if you don't declare it public, it will automatically consider it as a private. But in Java, the by default keyword is public. Okay, so C++ is more secure language. Okay. Standard libraries, these things I have already discussed with you. These are some programs of C++. I think all of you have already tried it out, because these programs are not very new to you, because everything is common. Like C, only the objects cout, cin that we are using, that has been stored in IOStream file, that are using new. Okay, that I have already discussed in the last class. Okay. One thing, this is the program which you know, that call by value and call by reference, because this program we have extensively discussed in our C programming language. The one keyword you have seen frequently from the last class, that is endl. Endl. Can anyone tell me what is the job of endl in C++?
New line.
Yes, new line. You can also use just \n, because I have already told all the commands in C is also running in C++. So you can use endl. Endl has one also extra feature that it will flush the previous data that has been stored in your cache. It will flush it out along with giving the new line character. Okay. Sometimes you will find endl there. So instead of endl, you can also use \n. Okay. So this is a call by value. I think there is nothing to tell you or discuss with you. But here they are not using any kind of class and object concept. They have just defined it with a simple C programming. Okay, but C++ programming without using class and object concept. Okay, object concept they have used. Cout cin is an object concept, but not specific user-defined class and user-defined object concept. Okay, these are call by value. These are call by reference. I think you have remember, in case of call by reference, what we are going to do, we are actually passing the variables with the ampersand operators. Okay, I don't know why they are not giving it, but it should be ampersand A and ampersand B, and we will receive that operator with the help of pointer operator, star A and star B. Okay, while we have defined the concept. Okay. So these are the array initialization. What are the concepts related to C++ in array detail? Like C++ supports multidimensional array, just like C. The simplest form of multidimensional array is a 2D array that supports by C++. C++ also supports pointer to array. Okay, you can generate a pointer to the first element of an array by simply specifying the array name without any index. Similar way that we have used in case of C. Okay, return array from function. C++ also allows a function to return an array. Okay, passing array to a function. C++ also allows to pass array through a function with the help of pointers. Okay. Okay, so this notes I have already uploaded in your hash portal. Okay, so I think all of you are able to share your hash portal. Okay, in the hash portal from this semester we are not going to upload the video lectures. Okay, because it has been already told that you are able to access the video lecture from the elements itself from this semester. I don't know whether you are going to access it or not, but from elements you can directly access the video lectures. And along with I have uploaded all the notes in your hash portal. Okay, all these PPTs, all the discussion I have uploaded in the hash portal. So please check it on. Okay. Today I want to show you the use of scope resolution operator. There is a very new operator that we are going to see. So let me tell you what are the new operators we have seen in C++ that we didn't see in C programming. Okay, what are the new operators are there? So please read out these basic concepts. Acha, which book you are going to follow in C++? Have you gone through the syllabus which I have given to you, lesson plan or syllabus? There I have already mentioned the name of the books. I think the syllabus or lesson plan has been already uploaded. Have you gone through it? This is the C++ syllabus. Have you gone through it? So you can read any one of these books. Okay, Rima Thareja is a good one. So if you are getting this book, it will be better for you. Object-oriented programming with C++. Rima Thareja book is a good writing because you have already followed the book of Rima Thareja in your C programming. Okay, so I know that you can also tell me the quality of the book is good. Okay, so Rima Thareja you can follow. You can also follow Balaguru Shami, or you can also follow Kanitkar. Kanitkar is also there in C++, but Kanitkar is not so good in case of C++. It is good in case of C. So I suggest to follow the Rima Thareja. So all of you purchase it as a computer engineer. Don't rely for your core programming languages book. Don't rely on library. Okay, in library obviously you will get this book, but don't rely on it. You will purchase it because you will require this book throughout your life. Okay, purchase it. And these are the syllabus. Have you gone through the syllabus? Is this syllabus available in the internet, in your website, this university website? Have you gone through it? Tell me, have you gone through it?
No, sir.
Means whether it is there or not, I want to ask you, have anyone searched it in the university website? Syllabus is there or not? Okay, one thing I can do, I will share the lesson plan. These are lesson plan actually. These are lesson plan. Okay, syllabus is different. I am going to share the lesson plan of my lab, C++ lab, C++ theory, and our C++ syllabus in your WhatsApp group. Okay, so from there you will get everything. You will get everything. So if we discuss this is a syllabus. Okay. Here we are actually in last couple of classes we are learning these things, the C++ and its basics principles. Then in class on object we have already started. Okay, we have already touched some portion of this module 2 as well because they're interrelated with each other. Okay, then after completion of the conception of class on object, friend function, constructor, destructor, all these concepts we are going to learn. Then we are going to shift into our reusability concept, that is inheritance and polymorphism. That is very, very important in terms of object-oriented programming. Then file handling, input-output streaming, which you are doing in C, we will do in case of C++. And then we are going to handle the exception handling. Okay, exception is a very new concept in C++, and this concept is also available in future object-oriented programming languages as well, like Java or Python. So here I have also mentioned the book names. Okay. So I'm uploading all these things. So let's start to talk about the operators in C++. So C++ has a rich set of operators that all we know, and all C operators are valid in C++ also. All the C operators are valid in C++ also, that we know. So in addition, C++ introduces some new operators. Okay, just like in addition, C++ introduces some new keywords. So all of you, I suggest all of you to check any book or my notes to get the new keywords in C++. Okay, so you will get those new keywords. Actually, keyword you don't need to remember. I have already told in case of C, there are 32 keywords and you don't need to remember, because all keywords, 90% keywords we are using in our programming. Okay, so you don't need to remember. I think all of you know that. But at least you have to know what are the extra keywords that C++ or ANSYS C++ standards are introducing. Okay. So just like keywords, operators are also very new in C++. So operator overloading is one of the concepts in last class I have discussed with you. I think all of you remember the concept of operator overloading. So if you remember, I have told that this operator has been overloaded in last class. So can anyone tell me what was the name of the operator I have discussed? I have told.
Insertion, extraction.
Very good. This is a extraction operator. This is an insertion operator. Okay, sorry. This is an insertion operator. This is an extraction operator. Okay, so this operator is used along with the object cout, and this operator is using along with the object cin. Okay, so this is operator overloading, because this operator is also used as a shift left and shift right. In C programming, you have already, in last class I already discussed about it. Apart from these new operators, there is one more operator which has a huge use, you can say, that is a scope resolution operator. Resolution operator, scope resolution operator. Okay, scope resolution operator. Yes, what is the use of scope resolution operator? That I am going to discuss. Apart from this, there is one more operator, a scope resolution operator followed by a star. So can anyone tell me what is the logic of this star here? What this star signifies here? Is it a multiplication operator? Or what else? This is a pointer operator. And the name of this, yes, and the name of this operator is pointer to member operator. Pointer to member declarator. No operator, whatever you say, declarator. Okay. There's a new one. It may be possible that all the operators are not using extensively in C. Okay, in C++, it may be possible. This is a new operator. A right arrow followed by a star. This is also a pointer to member. This is a pointer to member operator, and this is a pointer to member declarator. Okay, declaration. For the declaration purpose, we are using this operator, and for the represent a member, we are using this operator. Okay, arrow followed by a star. Okay, we are going to learn all these operators if required. Okay, we are going to learn it. Member operator. Okay. Declarator. The spelling is correct. Okay, the next one is there is one more operator we are using instead of this operator, which will do the same job, that is dot star. Dot star. Same operator, huh? Equivalence operator. Either you are using arrow star or you are using a dot star, which are both representing pointer to member. The BTech people will remember I have already used similar kind of most similar kind of operator in C programming. Where I have used, can you remember? In pointer chapter I have used it. Can you tell me which kind of operator I have used? In structure pointer. Have you remembered? In structure pointer.
Yes, yes.
Yes. Dot operator you're talking about.
Yes,
Yes.
dot operator. Dot operator, you are accessing the members with the help of the pointers of a structure, either by using this arrow sign or by using this dot operator, if you remember. So this operator you are extensively used in your data structure subject. I think you have already started to use this operator. While you are declaring the linked list, you have to use
Yes,
this
we
operator
use
because linked list, yes, linked list is nothing but a declaration of a structure of a node, and it has two fields. One is a data field and one is link field connected to the next node. And while you are connecting the next node, you will have to use this operator, okay, to access the elements of those particular nodes. Okay. Apart from this, there are some other operator like endl. Endl is an operator. It's not a keyword. Endl is an operator. Okay. That operator is used for giving a new line, giving a new line character, okay, and used for the flushing the existing memory, okay, and flush the memory. Okay. Next is the delete operator, which I have already told. Delete and new. Okay, I have recently told delete and new, and these two operators is for the dynamic memory allocation and deallocation. So dynamic memory allocation and deallocation. One interesting thing is that we have already used this new operator, but you don't know where we have used it. I'm showing it. We have already used it. In last class, we have already used it. Okay. And there is one more operator, that is set W operator, which is used for a field with operator. It is not a popular or a very usable operator. Okay. But you have to know the set W operator, which is used for field with operator. It mainly used to increase the field, okay, the size of the field of the specified size. Okay. So the most important thing that I'm going to discuss today, the use of this scope resolution operator. With the help of one programming, I want to show it, the use of a scope resolution operator. Okay. So just let me paste. Connect to scope resolution operator. Okay. I don't want to use any class and object concept. Okay, to make you confused. Okay. So make it simple. A scope resolution. My main objective is to show you the scope resolution operator. Okay. My main objective is to show you the use of the scope resolution operator. So the program name is scope resolution. Okay. So scope resolution operator means this one, colon. Okay. Colon. This is a scope resolution operator. Now let me first tell you what is the job of the scope resolution operator. That you have to know first. Okay. Okay. Scope resolution operator. In C programming, if you remember, in C programming, the global version of a variable cannot be accessed from within the inner block. And in C++, resolve this problem by introducing a new operator called scope resolution operator. And this can be used to uncover a hidden variable. Okay, if there is any hidden variable, by the help of this operator, scope resolution operator, we can uncover it. Okay, and this operator allows access to the global version of a variable. Allows access to the global version of a variable. Now let's check it out. How we can use a scope resolution. Just check it out. Okay. Suppose we have declared a variable int var. Okay. Suppose 10. Try to understand the program very carefully. Int var. Var is a variable. Now can anyone tell me whether this variable is a global variable or local variable?
Global variable.
Global variable.
Very good. Very good. Why it is global? Because I have declared it outside the main method. That all of you know that. I have already discussed in the C programming, right? Now I am defining one more variable within int main. Okay. Suppose the variable name is k and k equal to 20. Okay, not k. Suppose the same variable name I have to use var equal to 20. So is it a local variable or global variable? It is a local variable to main function. Okay, local to main, because its scope and its lifetime is depends only within the scope and lifetime of a main function. Okay, outside this main function, this variable cannot be accessed. Okay, very good. Now So it is actually I have declared it. Now suppose how can I write it? Int main int var 20. Okay. One new thing that I need to show you here. Suppose I want to write an inner block. How can we write an inner block? Okay, let's check it out. In this way, we can write an inner block. This is a very new thing. Okay, you can look at this thing very carefully. I have declared one variable k, okay, which will be assigned with var. Now I am redeclare the var variable again with a value, a new value, 30. Okay. So this var is declared and local to the inner block. Okay, this is the inner block. This is a very new concept. Okay, without using any function, we can give this inner block. Okay, now we are going to run this code. See out. We are in inner block. Okay, just typing this statement. You can give endl here. If you want, you can also give new line, and we are going to print this value as k equals to k. Okay, and then we will give a. You can also give a new line if you want. Then again, see out. We are going to print the value of var. Okay, var. Okay, and we are going to put a new line after it. Okay, then again one more see out. Now we are going to use a scope resolution operator here along with the var variable. Try to understand. We are using a scope resolution operator here along with the variable. So how we can use scope resolution operator? You have seen. So a scope resolution operator followed by a variable name we can give. Okay, and here we will print it as a scope resolution operator followed by a variable name, and we can give a new line. Right. Now out all this operation I have done within the inner block. Now outside this block, I am doing the same operation. Okay. So instead of inner block, it should be in outer block. Right. It should be in outer block, and we will print this two variable. Okay. With the help of the same thing, we are going to copy paste here. Okay, copy paste here. Let's check it out whether run or not. Okay, so can anyone tell me what is actually happening here? So I have used all kind of declaration of all these variables into different blocks. So this is the inner block. Okay, without using any function here, any system defined or user defined function, I'm creating this inner block. This inner block concept is new to you. So this inner block is a part of the main method, and these variables, these statements are part of the main block. Okay, and this variable is a global variable. Now here I have defined k equal to var. K equal to var means what value of k occupy here? What value is k occupy here?
20.
20. Very good. Why 20? Because it will assign with the local variable, because this inner block is a part of the main block, so it cannot access the global variable. It will assign along with the local variable, right? Now we have reassigned the local variable again within the inner block with the help of 30. Okay, so it will print endl here. Now, can anyone tell me what value this k will print? 20.
20.
It is clear to everyone. K will print 20. Now, what value this var will print?
30.
30.
What value this var will print?
20. 30.
No, 30, because it has been reassigned within the inner block. You are in the inner block right now. So the current var variable value is 30. It has been changed because you are in the inner block right now. Clear? Achha. Now, what value this var will print? So let me remind you the
20.
let me remind you the let me remind you the applications of the scope resolution operator. Scope resolution operator allows access to the global version of a variable, Okay, so what value it will print? What is the global version of var variable? Here. Yes, very good. It will print 10. Always global version of the var variable. Okay. So within main method, it is a local variable, local to main. It is local to the inner block. So these are not global variables. Never can be a global variable. This is a global variable. Okay. This is a global variable. And so it will print 10. Now come into the outer block. Now I think you can tell me what will be the value of this var?
20.
20. All of you agree with it? It will be 20 or not? All of you agree with it? Yes, it should be 20. Why? Because this is a local to the main block. Okay, it is outside this inner block, so it is local to the main block. So what is the local variable var value of this main block? 20. Okay. Now, what will be this value?
10.
Yes.
10.
Yes. Very good. It will be again 10. Why? Because whenever the scope resolution operator is there, always it will access the global variable. Always it will point to the global variable. That is the use of a scope resolution operator. If you run it, you will get this 20, 30, 10. Look, 20, 30, 10, and then 20, 10. Clear? Anyone has any doubt? Ask me. Is it clear to everyone? Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Anyone has any doubt? Anyone has any doubt, you can ask me. So you have to practice it. Sometimes the question will come. What is the use of scope resolution operator? Show with an example. You have to show with a, you don't need to show a lot. It's such a big program. You can omit this inner block to show. No problem. Because you have to show how to access the global variables. Okay. So you can, if you don't have enough time, you can show it. Okay. Time management is a very big thing. Okay. While I am checking your paper, I have felt that lots of people are immature to manage the time. You don't know based on the marks of the program or based on the marks of the question how much you need to write. So there is one question. If you remember, there is a call by value and call by reference. I have given that question in your semester exam, if you remember. So that question was, I think, 3 marks. I think it was a 3 marks. So most of you have written the correct answer. Most of you are getting 3 out of 3. But you have written at least 1 and 1.5 page of answer of it. Okay. So that is not correct. For 3 marks, you will have to write the main differences between call by value and call by reference in theory, whatever theory is there. Obviously, you have written it correctly. While you are writing the program, why you are going to write the entire program starting from header file to main method? Have I asked you to write a program for showing a call by value, use of call by value? If I will ask you to write an entire program to show a call by value, then you will write entire program starting from header file to return 0. But while you will have to write or give a proof of a code along with the theoretical concepts, suppose I am asking you support with a code snippet. That snippet term I have frequently used in my question, if you remembered. Snippet means you are going to write only these things where the function call is happen. Only write that statement where the function call is happen, where through which you are passing the address of the variables. You will focus on this statement. Okay, make a command line that here the function call is happen along with passing the address of a variable, and you will write the function definition where you will catch the variable with the pointer variable star mark. That will be enough to give an answer. Understood? I know that you are not mature enough. You are doing these things, but in future you are going to learn several programming languages, C++, data structure. The data structure, each and every program is 2 and 3 pages long. Okay, at least 1.5 page, 2 pages long. So you will never get a time if you write the entire program. You have to understand the question first. You have to check the marks of the question, and accordingly you have to answer. Okay, if the call by value, call by reference question is having 5 marks, then you will write the entire program, no problem. But I have given 3 marks, so you have to write only that portion of the code which will be enough to understand, to give you the understanding that how this process will happen. Call by value will happen and call by reference will happen. Understood? Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So again, return back to the concept of class and object. So in last class, I have already show you one basic program of class and object. Today, I am going to also show you some basic program of class and object. Okay. So as I have told you that class is nothing but a template or a wrapper of collection of data variables and member functions. So these two are the members of a class. Okay. So the members are 2 types. One is the variable member or data members. Another one is the function members or method, whatever you say. Right. Now the thing is that here in this program is a very simple program. I have defined one class whose name is employee, and I have defined a set of members within this employee class. So employee contains these 3 data members: age, name, and desig. So if you see that age is an integer member, name and desig is a character array or string, whatever you say, right? So I have told that in earlier classes that if I will not explicitly define the access specifier in C++ for a particular variable or for a particular data member, it will automatically or by default consider as a private member. So all these 3 data variables are working as a private member. Now you say, sir, what is the difference between private member and public member? There is one more member that is called protected member. Okay. So access specifiers is one of the following keywords: public, private, and protected. The access specifier are the keywords in object-oriented language that set the accessibility of classes, method, and other members. So by the help of access specifier, you are able to do a data hiding. You are able to provide security. You can understand how you can able to provide security. There are 3 kind of access specifier in C++. The first access specifier is private. So private members of class are accessible only from within other member of the same class or from their friends. Okay. In future, you will learn about the friend function. Okay, friend function. A function which is a friend of another function. In future, I will discuss about the friend function. It's a unique concept in C++. Friend function. That concept is not there in Java or any other program. Okay. So from the friend function, you are able to access private member. And if you are not using any friend function concept, then you can access the private member only from within the other member of the same class. Read this statement very carefully. What is the accessing capability of a private member? You can access the private member of a particular class only from within other member of the same class. That means whenever you will declare the private member, here you can only access these private members from the other members of this class. Right? So look at this function accessing. How we can access function? This is another use of scope resolution operator. So scope resolution operator, it is a use of scope resolution operator. So it is a operator overloading. Okay. Scope resolution operator is overloaded because I have shown the use of scope resolution operator here, and this is another use of scope resolution operator. It will connect the class along with its member. Here, this is another example of operator overloading. I have already shown operator overloading for these two operators, and today I have shown the operator overloading for this operator. So in the exam, the question may come how the scope resolution operator is working like operator overloading, how we can define it, how we can justify it. So you have to answer along with the proper course method of this as well as this. Clear? Everyone clear?
Yes, sir.
So this employee class is connected with the member function of this employee class by the help of scope resolution operator. And if you have seen very carefully that within this get data method, we are able to access these variables. In spite of these variables are private in nature. In spite of these variables are private in nature. So if you define private here in such a way, the similar thing is happening. There is no change in the output. Why? Because in C++, if you don't use this private keyword explicitly, by default, it will consider it as a private. Is it clear? You may use, you may not use. This is optional. This private keyword is optional. If you don't use, then it will consider it by default as private. So here, you are able to access these three data members, age, name, and desig, as a within these functions, within this member function of the same class. Okay, in spite of these three are the private in nature. How can we access? Because it has been already told in the PPT. If you see, it are accessible only from within other member of the same class. So this get data is another member of this employee class of the same class. That's why they're eligible to access it. Is it clear? Understood? How we can access it?
Yes,
Is it clear? Because this is a member, another member of the same class where you have defined the private data members. So that's why these members have the capability or have the authorization to access the private member of this employee class. So that's why get data is used to take inputs of this private member through the keyboard, and the display data is giving the output of these private members at the output screen. Now go to the main method. In the main method, what we should do, in the last class I have told, if you want to access these data members and member variables, any one of it or both of it, then we have to create the object of this class. Because until we are not creating the object, this class does not have any memory occupancy of your computer system. Because class is an abstract concept and object is a physical concept. I have extensively discussed it. So how we can create an object? We can create an object in this fashion. Class name, then space, then followed by an object name. This object name is user defined. You can use any name for the object. Then we can use new operator and employee. Again, class name. This is the actual process of object creation. This is the actual process of object creation. Class name, space, object name equal to new operator, then space, again class name. Okay, then again class name. This is the actual process of object creation, right? So I have already shown you the use of this new operator here. And can anyone tell me, is the object created statically here or dynamically here? What do you think? Is this object EMP has been created statically or dynamically?
So dynamically.
Yes, because new operator is always used for dynamic memory allocation. And the memory for the object is coming from where? In last class I have told, from memory heap. It's a special kind of memory. It's a part of that primary memory. Okay. From memory heap, the object space for the object allocation has been provided. Now you are able to access this member. This I have already discussed. By the help of dot operator, you are able to access the member method. Okay, get data, list the data. So now let's run it. Oh, sorry, one thing needs to be added. I forget. This thing needs to be added. Okay. Convert from employee to non-scalar type employee requested. Okay. Actually, what happens here in Java we can do in such a fashion, but in C++, it will not allow. It will by default, it will give you this conception. By default, the new operator is added. Okay, you don't need to add it explicitly. By default, this new operator is added while you are creating object. Let me remind you, by default, this new operator is added while you are creating the object. Okay, you don't need to do it explicitly. You don't need to do it explicitly. Okay, so we are removing this part and we can remain with this part. Okay, so by default, a new operator is applied while you are creating the object. If we run this code, now it will correctly run. So it will first demand the age of the employee, now demand the name of the employee, and this employee one, the designation of the employee, suppose officer, and this is the information of the employees has been printed out. Okay, is it clear? This is another concept, another program by the help of which we are accessing the details of the employees, age, name, and designation with the help of class and object. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Bolo. Any question?
so sir, there is no such a use of new keyword in C++.
No, we will use it. We will use it, but here we cannot use in such a way. Here we cannot use. We will use it. I will show you the use in future. But here, while creating object, it will by default it will take the use of the new keyword. Now by default it will consider the new keyword. We don't need to use explicitly here. In Java we can use explicitly, but in C++ we cannot use explicitly while creating object. Okay. There is some other use of new keyword that I will show it. Okay. I will show you in future class. Right? But here we cannot use in such a way. You have to create the object in this fashion. Okay. Okay. So we are almost to finish our class timing. So I'm going to stop it. So everyone, please revise it. Okay. Revise this materials. I have already uploaded all this material in your Hash portal. Okay.